and welcome back to our Flash series. We are in chapter 2 called Jump Start, and in my introduction we talked about how we'd be starting off with some drawing features. We're going to do that just a little bit later. I thought it'd be fun just to actually jump in and start doing some animation, and while doing that showing you some of the features of our graphical user interface for this Flash software application. So let's do that now. So what I would suggest we do is this. I've got my Flash open already. Let me just minimize that. And here are all of my Flash lessons which are on my desktop, and we're interested in Flash lesson 2. And we're going to be looking at a couple of titles today, a couple of files, Turtles and Car on Road. So I'm going to double click on Turtles. Okay, now the first thing to note is this. This is the Flash GUI, the Flash Graphical User Interface. And before we start working our way around this, the first thing to look at is here, Animator. Now, you may well have yours on Essentials, so yours may well look something like this. I would like you to put it on Animator, as all of the lessons I shall be teaching will be using this look. Okay, so have it on Animator. Now up here we see several features. These are called frames, these little rectangles. And we've got layers. We should be familiar with layers looking at Photoshop and Illustrator. We also have layers in Flash as well. This Flash animation has 60 frames in it. And this is for this layer here called Big Turtle. What I'm moving at the moment is a timeline, and this timeline will move when I click on the play button. Just as in Photoshop and Illustrator, I can hide layers. You're going to be seeing a lot of these black dots. These black dots are called keyframes. The keyframes show that there is an object in this particular frame. So for example here, this big turtle is going to be shown throughout the length of this of these frames, whereas here this little turtle, if we go on to frame 2, disappears. In a short while I'll show you how to create frames. We then come down to the tools panel, and we've got things called selections, sub-selections, freeform, and a whole range of tools that we can see the name of as we hover over those particular tools. Where the action is, or where we put our objects, is called the stage. So this is the stage we can put our objects on. Over this side we have other properties, so we can expand or contract, and here we've got a whole range of things that will come and be active as and when we need them. Down here is our library, and in the library we have various objects that can be dragged on to the stage. So the first thing that I want to be able to do is to show you how to animate, and to do that you do this. It's a 3-step plan, and the first thing we're going to do, we're going to move this big turtle from this position to this position, and we're going to be using something called a classic tween. This is how we actually create it. We're going to go right click, and it says create classic tween. So that's step 1. And you'll see that it turns blue and has a dotted line. Step 2 is to move the timeline, and we're going to move it to the end. Step 3 is to move our turtle from where it is to where we want it to be. And you'll notice 2 things now. One, that the dotted line has become an arrow, and that we've now got a second keyframe. This keyframe represents where the object is at this frame. So at this frame, the keyframe shows the turtle here, and at this frame, you can see it there. Okay, so we can now animate it, and yes, we can animate it by moving the timeline, but we can also animate it by pressing the play button. Okay, so that's how we do that. Now, how do we actually create the frames? Well, I'm going to do the same now for this little turtle. I'm going to select frame 60. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to insert frame. And we get this grey background. And we can see that the turtle is here. Right, let's ignore the big turtle and just hide that layer. And what I want to do now is do exactly what we did before. Just to show you the point again, we're going to right click, create a classic tween. Step 2, we move the timeline. Step 3, we move the object. So now we can get our little turtle moving. Bring back the big turtle and we'll see them both move. Okay, so both of our objects are moving at the same pace. But let's just say, for example, we want the little turtle to move quicker. Well, we can do that in several ways. Here's one way. We can say, click on the little turtle. Sorry, that's the big turtle, the little turtle. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag this keyframe to frame 30. Now, what should happen is that our little turtle will get to the end in half the time our big turtle does. Let's have a look. So there you can see these objects going at different paces. We can also start an object a little bit later. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this one back. So now they're both going at the same pace. And in this case, I'm going to get the little turtle to start later. So I can click on this and I could go up to, say, frame 30. So what will happen in this case is that our turtle will start later. If I want to have the little turtle showing all the time, I would need to put in a keyframe. So I'm going to select here and I'm going to insert keyframe. Okay, so at this point we've got the turtle here and the turtle here. I'm going to move my turtle back. And in fact, I could actually remove the tween. So what's going to happen now is this. The big turtle is able to head off. The little turtle realizes that its mum is leaving him and scurries after to the end. So let's have a look at that. There you go. So we've been playing with these keyframes. We've been moving them around so that one can move twice as quickly as the other. We've been moving them the other end so one starts later than the other. The next thing that we can do is to adjust the direction a particular object moves in. At the moment they are only moving in a forward direction. And with a classic tween, it can only move in a straight line. So let's see what else we can do. And I'm going to focus on the big turtle. So let me just close the small one for the minute. And I'm going to move the timeline in. It doesn't matter where you move it in, but I'm going to click. Now by clicking on that, up comes this tweening section. And I'm going to do a little bit of editing of the motion of this turtle. And I do that by going to the edit easing. Now you can play with this as much as you like, but I'm just going to move things around a bit. So I'm going to make a very wiggly line, okay? Alright, so here we go. We can see that we've got 0 to 60 and with these number of frames, and this would be essentially the pace we're going at and also the direction. So let's show you what it does. So we're going to click OK. And I'm going to move this back and just watch the direction that the turtle now takes. So in this case, bring back the mum and the little one. Mum heads off, comes back, picks him up, and off they go together. So we've got lots of things going on there. So what I would do would be to spend a little bit of time playing with your classic tween. Play with the edit easing and just see what you can do and see how you can get these turtles moving at different paces, moving in different directions, forwards and backwards. And when you're happy with that, let's go on to the next one, which is cars. Okay, so we're going to come out of turtles. And the next thing I want to do is to go into car on road. And I'm going to make sure by coming over here, show all or fit in window. Okay. Now then, I want to be able to drive my car along this pavement, and I'm going to show you a couple of ways to do it. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to reduce it to I think we'll probably do it something around 85. So let's do 85%, press return. Right, now then, let's do something different. Here is the background, and the background is obviously all of this, and you'll see that there is a padlock there. That padlock means that I cannot edit this or move it unless I move the padlock. Well, I don't want to do anything to the background, so I'm going to put the padlock on. And you can see that we're going to have 60 frames being used here, and that we've got our keyframes in. Now, I want the car to move, so I'm going to go and right click, and in our last video we did create classic tween. In this case, we're going to create a motion tween, and we'll click OK. Now then, the motion tween has the same background color as the classic tween, but it doesn't have that dotted line. What we do is the same, however. We've chosen the tween, we move the timeline, and then we move the object. And you'll see in this case that we have a dotted line going along. Now the difference with that is this: we can actually create the direction to curve, and we're going to use our selection tool, and how we do that is we're going over up to this dotted line, and you'll see behind the cursor that there is a little line, and it says that it's now interacting with that line. So if I come into the middle here and do that, I can actually create a bend. So let's see how that would look. And there we go. Right, well, we're not even close to what we want to do at the moment, but let's just say we want to do more than one bend. Now, a little word of warning: if I just click on this line, you can see that this line has become much thicker. If your line is like this, you're not going to be able to do anything. So just click off so you have a nice thin line. Now, instead of using the black arrow, I'm going to use the sub selection. So I'm going to click on this, and all I'm going to do is click on the beginning or the end. It doesn't matter which, but I'm just going to go and click. And what you see these handles. Now, if I move a handle, I have gone and created not just one curve, but two. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. So I've gone from 1 to 2 curves. I'm going to go back to my selection tool, the black arrow, and because I've gone and created 2 curves, every one of these nodes, every one of these dots is editable. So I can go and move a particular dot. And I can do this, and I can move them all around. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to move this in here, and I'm going to move this in here, and I'll put that in there. Okay, so let's have a look at that at the moment. Alright, so that's really is quite chaotic. How could we tidy that up? Well, we could go to the pen tool. And the pen tool has lots of options. I'm going to go and choose not the pen tool, but delete anchor point tool. And once I've gone and done that, I can delete the points. So I'm going to get rid of this one, and this one. And in fact, I'm going to delete all the ones that are not on the road. And I should get rid of this one, and maybe this one, and this one. I can also move them around with the sub-selection. So let's say I could get to this, and I could move that in. I could move that down. And so we start slowly but surely being able to manipulate it in a way where we can create the look of it staying on the road. So let's go with that and see what that looks like. Back to the selection and play. Okay. So that is one way of being able to edit your path to allow the car to stay on the road. That all being said, I'm going to show you a better way now. So I'm going to go right click and remove the tween. I need to create a third layer. So I'm going to go and choose here, new layer. I'm going to double click layer 3 and I'm going to call it path. And press return. Now, I need to make sure that the path is selected. In fact, before I do anything, I'm going to move my car out of harm's way at the moment, just down there, but I need to make sure that I've got the path selected. Now, if you look here, all of these are the same symbol because they represent a layer, but I'm going to change this symbol for path. I'm going to make it what's called a guide. So I'm going to right click, choose guide, and you get a hammer. Now I want the car layer to be connected to this path guide, and the way to do it is this: you select the car and you want to lift it a little, so you might want to lift it and then it comes in, so you just bring it up and bring it slightly in from the left and release. And you'll know if you've got it correct because your path turns to yet again a different look, and this is a dotted path here. Now what's really important is to make sure that you have selected your path. Go to the pencil tool and make sure that it's a nice bright colour. You can do that by clicking on here and choosing a colour which you like. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to draw the path. So I'm going to draw this path. It's going to go up, round, and I'm going to get the car to go round in a circle and to come back along the path again. And release. Now then, I need on my car to create a classic tween. So I'm going to go right click, classic tween. Use my sub selection and I'm going to drag it to this one here. And you'll see it snapped to grid almost, it just falls into place. I'm going to drag my timeline to the end. I'm going to then get my black selection and I'm going to drag it down to this one. But I'm not very happy with that, it's still pointing in the same way. So while it's there, let's choose the free transform tool and rotate it through 180 degrees. Right, let's see what happens now. So I'm just going to press the play. And we get that look. Now that's not bad, but let's do something a little bit clever. And we're going to move our timeline part way in, like we did with the classic tween. And we clicked on the frame, and you can see that up came this easy. Well, we don't want to touch that. We want, in this case, go to orient to path. So we're going to click on that. Now that means that the car will, at most of the point, follow the point. The front of the car will be pointing in the right direction all the time. So let's just go and see how that looks. And we have that. If you want to make it a little bit better, let's say you're thinking, oh, that's way off there. What you can do, you can select a frame, right click, insert keyframe, then go to the free transform and rotate your car how you would like. And you can keep on doing that for as many times you like. So let's have a look at this for the last time. So there we have it. What we've gone and done in this video is to show you how to get the right workbook look. So I would like to make sure you're always in Animator. We've had a little look at the various tools and the canvas. And then what we've gone and done is showing you how to use the classic tween, the motion tween. With the classic tween, we were able to show you how to use the edit features with that pencil. And then with the car, not only were we able to use the motion tween, showing you how to do one curve, two curves, many curves, but we were also able to show you how to use the guide path and how to create an easy guide, get in connection with the classic tween in being able to get the car moving. And then not forgetting to make it a little bit more realistic, we did orient to path to make sure that the car was pointing in the right direction all the time. So there was a lot in this video. Go away, have a practice and enjoy. And when you're ready, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.